Hey, what's up, guys? We're back again with another Marvel Rivals video. I'm kind of curious because this video is about the problem with supports. Like, you think they would make an appreciation video for supports before actually making a video on the problem with them. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate the good supports out here, man. Like, they be doing God's work. So I'm kind of curious what this video is going to be about.
I think it's important to keep in mind the purpose of this discussion isn't really to lambast support players. I mean, I myself would consider myself a support player primarily in Overwatch, but more to raise a lot of important points about why sometimes we see trends with communities going back even to 2016 with Overwatch's release. And you can see it right now in the Marvel Rivals community. It's important for us not just to be aware of those things so that we can be aware of maybe our own biases when we do play support, but also to maybe raise some questions about things that we can be doing differently with whether it's our vernacular, our mindset, our feedback, or even the balance and development of the support role moving forward, or the strategist role. I think the name, even strategist, seems like an implication for Marvel Rivals that they're really trying to move away from that healer mindset. Maybe it's just legally different from support. I don't really know. But ultimately, I think this video should be used more as to raise a lot of questions. Obviously, I do have a lot of experience not only playing support myself, but more importantly, working with thousands of support players in the last 6 or 7 years. And I put a lot of thought into this, but this isn't an official scientific study. So maybe there's some of my own biases that are going to this as well within my own limited experience. So anyway, I think it's food for thought. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and enjoy the video.
So, I don't know, actually, you know what, let me pull up the video. Do you guys remember, I did a video with this in Overwatch, and I did a video back in Overwatch going, our supports boosted, a breakdown of, like, basically how mathematically it doesn't make sense to say that support mains are boosted within their role, because you can't have people that are boosted within a role, because a role is a breakdown, a curve of who's good and who's bad within that role. But the important differentiation is that our support mains boosted compared to other players in the game. In other words, if I were to put a tank player, a tank main, or a DPS or Vanguard or a duelist main on support, would it be easier for those players to pick up support? And in Overwatch, the answer is more often than not, yes. It depends on the support and it depends on the situation, but more often than not, yes. A lot of proactivity is demanded from support in Overwatch 2. A lot of mechanics are really demanded from Overwatch 2. And unless you're trying to learn like something like a Lucio or a Mercy, and even with a Lucio, there's things that you can pick up. The answer is that DPS players, because they're more mechanically demanded, they generally do very well. Now, it depends on the character. I know I've coached a lot of Honest and Yada mains. They do very well when going to DPS and so on. And it depends on the tank too, right? So, but the general rule is that no support mains aren't boosted, but more often than not, people don't want to play support. So if you do come in with mechanics in the support role, it's generally better than the support role going to any other role. So the answer is that support mains and Overwatch are boosted gamers, but they're not boosted within the role, if that makes a little sense. And it's the same thing with Marvel Rivals, because yes, Marvel Rivals does have some mechanical expression within the role, but it's the same exact thing.
That's
So
crazy.
Marvel Rivals is building an entitled and bitter support community, and there's a few reasons why this is happening. Every role in hero shooters has their cardinal sin. DPS equals eagle, tanks oblivious, so what's happening with strategist? And basically, as somebody that's coached thousands and thousands and thousands, about 10,000 of more than 10,000 people over the last 6 years, basically you start to see a common theme that DPS have this ego situation, tanks are oblivious. And the question I've always wanted to know is why? Why? Like, why is that the case? Like, why? It's not that, like, oh, support people are evil, or tank people are dumb, or DPS people have ego. It's like, okay, then why do we see this more often within the support community? Number one, I'm going to talk a little bit about this. So role queue. So basically, my thought is this, is that with role queue, whether you stance on whether Marvel Rivals needs or doesn't need role queue or role lock or whatever else, I'm not really going to get into that today. But what is objectively true is that when you don't have role queue, you get all the benefits of not having role queue. But one of the downsides is that you have people that have to fill more often to the team's needs. This doesn't happen as much in role lock or role queue, which is one of the few upsides to that, is that people can play what they want to play. With role queue, you have people that have to fill other people's needs. So you have people that are more likely to fill that. So here's the rule, is when you do a favor for somebody else, there's an automatic feeling of like, oh, well, I deserve to be returned. I deserve to be recompensed or compensated for me filling our team's need or this person's needs, right? And so what happens is when you are a person that is more likely to fill to the team's need, because duelist is the more popular role, you're more likely to fill the need of the team not playing duelist. and probably more often than not playing what you want. This doesn't speak for every support player. In fact, this doesn't even speak for the majority of support players, I'd bet. But I'd say a certain large percent of support players, 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever percent, are often would like to play something else, but are unable to. This goes for Vanguard as well, because they have to fill a need. So that gives you a sense of expectation of, I deserve this, I deserve it, and I never get it, which really puts you in a situation where it's like you have, and you see this on the subreddit all the time. Like, even if the subreddit isn't representative of the community as a whole, it is representative of the support community on that subreddit. And if you guys have paid attention to that subreddit for the last month, there is okay, well, I filled support on for you. I filled strategist for you. You better do your job, because I bent over backward to help you and filled the role that you didn't want to play, so you better freaking perform. And that's just completely unreal.
So the real truth is the duelists aren't the biggest ego gamers, the fill players are. No, but I get that. I do think that if, like, I don't know, because there's not really a role queue, so how can they tell you're filling? You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. If there was a role queue and you went fill, because, you know, you're going to get faster. Like, say you're pretty good at each role and you do fill, but obviously you have a preferred role. I think you should get more, like, maybe more, not XP, but more LP or whatever they call it in Marvel Rivals. Like, more, you know, rank up points. Because it's just like, it's bad. You know what I mean? Like, it does suck when you have to fill for your team. And then I honestly don't mind filling. Like, I do it a lot. But it just makes losing more, like, just more morale, like, defeating, you know? Like, your morale just goes in the shitter, and you're just like, why couldn't you just do the simple thing of literally playing your role? You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't you DPS enough? Why couldn't you tank enough? Like, it's fine, you know, losing games is inevitable. You know, you're gonna lose games. You're going to lose them, and you need to learn from those losses, right? Like, you can't win every single game. But I think the problem is when you lose for something as stupid as, oh, this guy just didn't know how to play his role. And it's not like you know, everyone on your team goes 20k damage and you lose. It's like, oh, okay. Or I'm not saying you need to do 20k damage, but I'm just, like, throwing out something as an example, right? It's like, oh, okay, you know, like, we were trying, we were doing damage, we were getting kills, we were, you know, healing, I saw some plays, you know, we tried our best, right? There was no one that I felt was, like, doing nothing. But it is the worst when there are, like, 3 of you on the team trying your hardest. Like, you got, like, 2 DPSs and 1 support trying their hardest, and then you got, like, the tank just running and dying, like, or, like, actually, I'm going to be honest, that doesn't really happen that often. That's usually the DPS. What happens is usually the tank never pushes up. They just sit there. Like, they sit there and they don't push when they get ult. No one ults so we can push. Like, there's just so many problems with, like, the way, I don't know, the way people play in the game. Like, they just do not use their brain for, like, 5 seconds. And it's not even like I don't think these are high level, high rank concepts. I think it's, like, common sense to be like, oh, I need an opening to push, right? Because if you're playing ranked, you are, like, you know, trying to go up, right? So you should look at it as a strategic game, right? That's what it is. These hero shooters are strategic shooters. It's the same as, like, Rainbow Six Siege. The only difference is Rainbow is way more methodical than, obviously, Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. But it's like, it has the same idea of you need to strategize. Like, you need to flank, you need to regroup, you need to go around this way, you need to, you know, like in the case of Marvel Rivals or Overwatch, oh, maybe we need to TP behind the enemy team to get the jump on them. Like, obviously, in Rainbow, you can't do that. In Rainbow, you would C4 charge maybe behind them or something, like surprise attack, or maybe, like, break a hole and ping them through and hit them in the head. You know, there's obviously a lot of things you can do there, but it's like, you have to do these kind of things, or it's just like the team's not gonna win. You know what I'm saying? Like, and obviously you're gonna get games where you go against bots or, like, people that don't know how to push, don't know how to do these things, and you're not gonna have to do that stuff. But you are gonna need to know how to do that stuff for the teams that do. And I'm gonna be honest, that, you know, the ratio of those teams goes up and up the higher the rank you get. Like, you're going to meet more of those teams, whether it's the enemy team or your team. I'm going to be real, it's most likely going to be the enemy team because you're on the team and you don't know how to do that. I'm just saying, if that is you, like, that's just how it's going to be. So you got to learn that stuff. Now, obviously, if you're just trying to get to gold, you can probably grind it out in Chrono Shield, carry yourself up there, and that's fine if you just want the gold skin. But you should at least do your job, you know? Like, it's just like that is what you always should do. You should always pull your weight in any team environment, whether it's work, a game, a sport. Like, you know, if you're working on a project with like friends or, you know, in school, whatever, like, you need to pull your weight. It'll make everyone's life easier and it'll make everything smoother and everyone will be happy and not stressed. Like, you know, obviously, depending on the situation, one's more stressful than the other, but you guys get my point.
Realistic expectation, right? It's a completely unrealistic expectation. So
Yeah.
I'm entitled to seeing you perform because I'm serving you. I'm going out of my way to do what you don't want to do, and you're not performing. Are you kidding me? And that builds bitterness. That builds resentment. And it's not that support players are mean and nasty and dirty. It's that there's an expectation of performance. Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing what you don't want to do. Come on, perform.
Well, I don't even think that it's like a big ratio of healers are doing fill. I think the problem is you play healer, strategist, whatever. You like strategist. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I like playing strategist. Like, I play all the roles. I enjoy each role. I think I didn't like playing support that much in Overwatch. I actually like playing it a lot in Rivals, which is like, you know, that's kind of new. Like, I think the only other game that I ever played, which I don't play anymore, is League, and that's the only other game I liked playing the support role. Like, maybe you could say like not Overwatch, Valorant, but Valorant's, you're not really like a support, you just have support abilities, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still can kill people and do everything everyone else can do. You just don't have abilities that are meant for picks. But anyways, the point is, like, I like doing it, and I think a lot of a lot of strategist players like playing strategist. I just think it feels bad when you're doing all this stuff to help your team win and they're not pulling the weight. Because I feel like as a strategist, you are the glue that holds your team together. And so if everyone else is like moving away from you, not doing, like, do you know what's the worst feeling when you're a support player? When you literally ult as Mantis or what's her name, Luna Snow, and everyone runs away from you. It's like, what was the point of me ulting if you all were not going to stay in my ult? Like, Mantis ult, obviously, like, you know, you can move a little bit away after, but like, the point is, like, it just feels bad. Like, including when you're trying to push an objective and everyone just runs away from you like you're the plague. It's like, how are we going to push? How, like, I'm trying to save you guys. Like, you know, imagine that. Like, I try to save them with my ult and they just all run away from me. It's like, oh, and my whole team's dead. And then I'm just sitting here like dancing. And then and then I stop and I'm like, and then just all shoot me in the forehead. Like, what am I going to do? As Luna
And I don't know
Snow.
if there's a solution. I talk about this, some implementation of some form of roll queue, if not roll lock. The other one is that really the pipe dream. I don't think this is ever going to happen of like, oh, in theory, if you made the support role or heroes within the strategist role more desirable, then they would be the ones that people would want to play.
What do you mean more desirable, sir? Because you said Invisible Woman. What do you mean more desirable? Are you talking about that juicy behind? Those big, voluptuous, I mean, okay, anyways.
And going duelist would be more of the necessity, and I have to do this. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Maybe it could happen little bit by little bit. If you make things like, for example, I like playing Zenyatta and Ana. I want to play Zenyatta and Ana in Overwatch, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that like certain Vanguards and Strategists. I think that could be improved better with more quantity and quality within that role. But, you know, I don't think that it will ever fully deal with that problem, to be honest with you. So we'll keep going here, though. It's because that's not all. Support, not a healer mindset. So basically, the other thing as well is, elaborating off my previous reply, this one's a hard one to break, is there are certain expectations where going support role in a shooter. So basically, you kind of have to do, they're expecting you, let me clarify. You don't have to do, for you to do the more interesting things with strategist, more often than not, is going to put you in a position where people are going to flame you, okay? So I know I complained earlier that I still think Marvel Rivals is too heal body. That is true. But there are windows, situations, and strategies, whether it's a Mantis or flanking Jaff or Loki finding opportunity to poke frontline, where you're going to do damage and you need to do damage and you need to use your...
I'm going to be honest. If you are a Loki player, this is as a Loki main. If your healing and damage are not almost 1-for-1, you are playing Loki wrong. Like, Loki is a splash heal, splash damage character. Like, obviously he has another healing ability too, but as your basic attack healing, like, come on. Like, it is so good. You are literally a magic missile artillery machine. Like, you stack up all your boys on you and you just fire at them, bro. It's like you're one of those like huge missile launchers. Dude, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't know how people don't understand how to play Loki, man.
Offensive utility.
But like,
so you get to actually
just
be
only
a
good for
little bit of the main
players,
character.
I guess,
you get to kind of do what you want. The problem is that our understanding of support and duelist within shooters and team games is such that your entire job is to serve me and do what I need you to do. And so you have these strategists that are already maybe filling a role that they don't necessarily want to play all the time, but then they also get flamed for doing anything selfishly or any sort of personal individual value, even if that's the correct play. There is this mindset of what a strategist should do. This affects Vanguard and Duelist to an extent, but often strategists about what they should do, and it's service. It's nothing but service, even if that's not necessarily in the interest of them winning.
If you are a healer, you are just a little cum slut to be used by everyone on your team. You are giving out heals like you are spreading your holes for them. That is all you are to these people. And that's how it should be. Amen.
Winning the game. You get what I'm saying? Right. As soon as a teammate dies, they'll be blaming the flanking support when they have the attention of two people. Or even, how dare you try to finish off that 1 HP target when I was standing in the open at half HP. And so that makes people upset. That makes people angry. I think that I see that more flamed. I saw that flamed a lot in my climb. I see that all the time. I see that all the time in Overwatch. If you spent a nanosecond not healing me, you're the problem. First thing I always see whenever people flame the strategist, how many heals do you have? Like, as if that tells you anything, right? Like, as if that tells you anything about the...
I'm going to be honest with you. Healing does tell you something. Like, those stats, they do tell you something to a thing. Now, obviously, if you have... Say, you're the one healer on your team has 10,000 healing and the other one has like 15 or 20,000 healing. That doesn't necessarily mean they weren't doing things, because you can look at their other stats, and you also can, you shouldn't just be looking at stats, but like, say, for example, throughout the game, you saw them not doing much, or you never saw them heal anybody, or you never saw them do really any plays. You never really saw them use their ultimate, like all these things. Like, stats are not the only thing you should be going at. Over. You should be going over actual experience and then using that experience that you just had with them in the game and reflect that off their stats. That's what you should be doing if you want to actually get an idea of what was this player actually doing. Now, obviously, you could be a, real sweat and like, a no life and go watch their video. And I'm not saying that everyone who does that is that, but I'm saying, like, if you have a job and stuff and like, you're playing this game and all that other stuff or whatever you're doing with your life, you're not going to have the time to do that unless this is like the only game you play. And even then you still might not have time. Like, I only have 4 hours to do this stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. You don't have a lot of time, including when most people probably most people have 2 freaking jobs. You know what I mean? Like, in this economy. So it's like, no one is going to go back and watch your freaking video, like watch the whole game over, unless you are like a streamer, a pro player, etc. You get my point, right? Or like, you don't have anything, that is sucking up your time. So that's the best way you can do it for someone that has those time constraints. So it's like, if you see your healer didn't heal much and wasn't doing anything really the whole game, and you look at their healing and it's like 2k, and this is the whole match, and then you go to their damage and it's 10k, well, obviously they were playing damage support and we still lost because we only had one healer. And I'll be honest with you, no matter how good of a healer you are, unless the enemy team is trash, you cannot solo heal a whole team. Because do you know what that means? That means they are not focusing the healers. Because I'm gonna be honest, if I see one healer and that's the only healer, like, you know, healing, I'm gonna ignore the guy in the front doing damage. I'm gonna go swing around, say I'm playing Spider-Man, swing around, swing back, clap you, like combo you, fist you, you're done. Even if I'm not playing Spider-Man, Moon Knight, on cue, dead, insta kill. Like, I know the combo, I'll insta kill you. It doesn't matter. Like, you can't do that. Let's be real.
The quality of that support player, and that's the first thing that we go to. So it's actually not just the game itself that's making support players a little bit bitter and entitled. It's also the understanding of the larger community as a whole that has certain expectations on the role that makes it feel a little bit more bitter and a little bit more frustrated, right? Strategist, right? So we keep going. You're playing the easier heroes, and this is the sad news. And this is this.
I'll be honest, I don't think so. I think Mantis is one of the hardest characters, skill seal. Like, I think she is hard as in there's a lot of things to manage. Like, you are playing a managed simulator game. Like, you are managing all your little healing bars because each person, you can see their bar and things. You have to pay attention to that. You have to pay attention to all your cooldowns. You have to switch between healing and damage constantly. Like, oh, do I buff myself to do more damage here? Do I buff this guy? Do I heal this guy? Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I sleep this guy? Should I save it? Like, there are so many things that you have to do as a Mantis player. Like, to actually, like, if you're a good Mantis player, this isn't like, obviously you can play Mantis and do but let's be real. It's, you know, that, and I think Loki, like Mantis and Loki, I think are actually maybe Cloak and Dagger, but honestly, I think she's pretty easy. Like, just because, like, say you spam all her buttons, you're still going to do things. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, obviously it's I think Cloak and Dagger has a high skill ceiling. Like, or not skill ceiling, sorry. Is skill ceiling the right word? I think I'm using that word wrong right now. Sorry, my brain's a little fried right now. Like, she has, like, a lot of potential, right? And it's like, so if you are a really good player, you are literally going to be like a god. You know what I mean? Because you're going to be healing all these people. Like, I've played her. Like, I have a video on this channel, I think, of me literally just dunking on people in, like, I think it was gold when I recorded that video because it was last season. Like, it's, like, I'm just saying, like, it's really not that, like, you know, I don't think that they're that easy, like, is all I'm getting at. Like, I think they are simple, but I think a lot of the characters, like most of the duelists, are simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of the tanks are simple. But a lot of the characters in this game, even the simple ones, have very high, like, potential and high, like, skill ceilings. You know what I'm saying?
This is another thing as well. So let me give you guys an example. Spider-Man goes for some freaking crazy rollout. Woo!
Okay, you can't compare a strategist to Spider-Man, guys. Let's be real. Spider-Man is I think he has the highest skill skilling in the game. Like, I can't think of another character. Like, bro, you cannot be comparing Spider-Man to anyone, bro. That guy's built different.
Woo! Does a super crazy combo.
Okay, well, this is not
No. Luna Snow healed the target.
I was gonna say, wait, that wasn't really a combo, though.
It's literally never gonna die. It's literally never gonna die.
True.
All right. You know, fill in the blank with whatever that you want to, right? Tank, Captain America's on the back line. Doesn't matter.
Okay, I guess I do get what he's saying. Okay, wait, I think by simple he meant it's just way, like, it's way easier to, like, do. Well, I guess I did say that too. Like, I don't like the idea of you saying, like, oh yeah, strategist is just easy. Like, let's be real, it's not, because if that was true, then we wouldn't have healers not doing anything. And I'm gonna be honest, that isn't very common, at least in ranked. Like, in ranked, it's not super common, but trust me, you get them. And so it's like, just like you get any other role. Like, I'm not just banging on healers.
How good you are with cooldown management, it's never going to die. You know, they press Q or they use sustain, whatever. So what this means is that there's a certain level of expectation of, like, I don't have to put as much effort into dealing with your threat.
Yeah,
so
that's
therefore,
true.
maybe I'm just the superior player. Maybe I just am better. So when, like,
I'm gonna be honest, when I am playing Luna Snow, bro, I go on a power trip. Same with like Jeff, but dude, when I play like Mantis or like Luna, bro, I'm on a power trip, bro. I'm like on something else. Sometimes even Cloak and Dagger, bro.
By this way, when a Spider-Man kills me or Black Panther kills me as a support, oh, it's a duelist. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm totally incapable of defending myself. Oh, I did defend myself. I'm better than you. So it's like, it's either the game is Yeah,
I do think that's true. Like, a lot of like, I do understand DPSs to an extent should help the strategist if they're getting jumped. Like your team should in general to an extent. Like not everyone should turn around, obviously, but you know what I'm saying. But like Luna has a freeze, bro. Like you can literally freeze them, headshot them, they're dead. Like 90% of the characters in the game are just dead. Like let's be real. Like the only time that I think it's your duelist's fault if they don't turn around and help you. Like no, there's no room for negotiation. Hulk dives you. Who's another person that's like super I don't know about maybe Spider-Man and Black Panther because like they're kind of too fast for you to CC them, but like I think Mantis could still sleep them pretty easily. I honestly have never been jumped as Mantis. I'm usually just like, you know, too goated for that, you know, superior strategist, right? But like that's kind of what I mean.
Game has created a situation which I can't possibly win, or I'm just better than you. That's like you either don't compete or you win. There's no downside. So you get the superiority complex of like my team should have healed for me. My DPS should have been helping me, or my team should be protecting me, or you just suck. Right? There's never maybe I am equipped to be able to deal with this kind of a situation, or maybe my team can't help me right now. So that, again, there's a sense of entitlement that whatever I'm doing, either I'm incapable because duelists should win every 1v1, which is obviously false, or my team should have done more to help me. And the example...
Yeah, I do think that's a huge problem in Rivals, actually. Like, I do think that actually might be something that leads to a lot of games I have lost in ranked. I actually think might have been, like, it's usually, obviously, like, it's not always the team's fault, but when it has been the team's fault, now that I think about it, I don't think it was just, like, them just being bad at the game. I think it's just more of that mindset where everyone kind of just expects everyone to do everything for them, if that makes sense. Like, there's no, like, independent, like, you know, like, oh, I'm a DPS, the healer can't heal me right now, let me walk over to the, you know, heal, like the little, you know, healing pack, you know, the health pack on the ground. You know, I'm a healer, I'm getting dived, let me say it in voice chat and like hopefully someone helps me. If not, I have a literal freeze, I have a sleep, like Jeff, I have a I can scurry away. Who's like, what's the other one? Loki, I can use my invulnerability ability, or I can teleport away, or I can go invisible. Like that guy, you know, that's a little bit different. Loki's kind of, you know, like I said, he's really good. That's why I main him, just because I like him. Like his kid's fun. But what else? I'm trying to think of like what's another strategy. Cloak and Dagger, you can literally vanish. You can blind them and then vanish. That's probably the most optimal way to escape. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just multiple ways you can like as a strategist, you can get out of these situations. And yes, you're going to stop healing for a second. And, you know, I think if you're a DPS or a tank and you stop getting healed, and I think I'm going to start doing this too, because I don't think I do this enough. Like, I do it sometimes, but I don't think I do this enough. And it's not like I blame my healers. I really don't. But like, I think if I stop getting healed, I should look around really quick to be like, hey, is something going on? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously healers are trying, they're doing their best. And I think that a lot of teams are trying their best, but sometimes there's just miscommunications. People don't want to use voice chat because people are toxic, like, you know, a million things, right?
What I bring up in this post is an Overwatch one where a lot of Brig nerfs and BAP nerfs and Warrior nerfs, back when those supports were unbelievably overtuned and brain dead easy to play. A lot of people in the forums and Reddit and even Game were like, these characters aren't overtuned, you just need to know how to aim, as they play the character that doesn't need how to aim. And it requires no game sense, right? So I'm speaking kind of facetiously, but you get what I'm saying. So there's a sense of like, oh, Moira got nerfed because of the Genji mains couldn't aim. Well, if everybody's having the same problem, maybe the problem's you. You get what I'm saying? Now, I'm kind of speaking facetiously here. I'm not, obviously, we're painting with a broad brush here. There are a lot of challenging supports. There are a lot of supports that have a lot of skill output, but that's just a general guideline that doesn't help the support community, where the support community in every game always feels victimized. They're always, I am incapable of defending myself in low to mid tiers. That obviously changes in higher tiers as people start to understand what their character is capable of. But low to mid tiers, this is mindset of I serve everybody else and I'm completely at the whims of my team. And if there's anything that comes after me, I'm incapable. And if I do beat you, it's
yeah, you are the cum dumpster of the team. Don't ever think anything else.
because I'm the greatest of all time. In reality, you're just playing an easier character and you're never actually using the kit that you have. And this kind of ties into like the impression of what a support really is, or a strategist really is. It's easy to put blame on an entire role for being egotistical or dumb or entitled. I find it much more interesting is to find out what about the environment in the game creates these subcultures because I've coached hero shooters for 7 years. I get to see the transform and change over time and so on. Now, there's one other thing that I forgot to put in this tweet, and I was really kicking myself because the irony behind me forgetting to put this in the tweet was because this was the actual number one reason of why support mains are bitter and entitled. You guys want to understand what the number one reason why the support communities are generally the more entitled and bitter community? Do you guys want to know why? And again, I'm only speaking in broad terms because I have been coaching the game from all perspectives for as long as I have. Why is that? Who can tell me? Why are support players generally all have a superiority complex in that regard? They don't want to play support. We already talked about that one. There's one even more important than that. There's a reason that's even more important than that. Zero recognition, that's not necessarily true. That's partly true. That's a good point. They think they're selfless. Duck's got it. Duck has it. And this is the one I don't see talked about enough. This is some
Bro, the supports, man, they're virtue signaling, bro. They're virtue signaling. Oh my god, bro. Yeah, sounds about right.
I brought up, I want to say almost a year ago. It's because
Bro, they're like the people on Twitter virtue signaling. They're like, please appreciate me.
Way that support players are often positioned is with a full vision of the battlefield. The way that support players are positioned is with a full vision of the battlefield. They see enemy tanks, DPS. They see people going off in flank and feeding and dying, or people staggering, or I was healing you, but you just went in, and so basically what they do is they have a physical position on the battlefield where they can see every single stupid thing. And because tank players and DPS players don't have that position, they don't have that perspective. And it's also a lot easier to criticize people for doing things than it is for criticize people for not doing things. You shouldn't have fed. You shouldn't have flanked. You shouldn't have lost that duel.
Dude, I just realized strategists are the guy in the back just watching everybody fail. And they're just like shit talking them, bro. They're like, oh my god, dude. They're like dude, that's crazy, bro. The strategists were the biggest shit stirrers all along. Who knew?
Right? And so I can see all the things that they're doing and failing to do and go, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck. You're basically a spectator. It's the literal backseat gaming is what you're doing. Literal backseat gaming. Armchair quarterbacking for you NFL fans out there, right? That's literally what you're doing. And now you may be asked, actually strategists at a high level, you're like taking angles and being aggressive and you're doing, yeah, but that's high level. Most players don't do that. They just turn the brain off and just kind of shoot or heal what's in front of them. And so of course they've got brain space to open up and see everybody doing all the things that they shouldn't be doing according to them. Half the time they're wrong, right? And so you feel the sense of like, man, every single game my tank makes a stupid mistake. Every single game, my duelist goes off in the flank and dies. Every single game, these tanks don't turn around and help me. Because you're right, they don't. But they're not supposed to. Tanks are you're gonna see, if you see every mistake, every single game at every single level, a tank makes a crucial mistake. It's unavoidable. We're human.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, even in like Grandmaster, one above all, like everybody makes a mistake. Like if no one made a mistake, no one would lose. Like, the difference between who wins and loses is which team makes the most mistakes. That's really all it is. Like, I'm going to be honest, I've costed games before because I made a mistake. I pushed a little too hard. I thought we were going in. I messed up. We lost because of me. Like, that happens. That's what happens, you know, like that's how life is, you know, and you just say, damn, that was my bad. I learned from that. I shouldn't have done that. And guess what? You don't do it again, or at least you don't do it that day. You probably do it again 3 days later, but like, at least, you know, at least you're making some kind of progress, right?
Every single time your DPS takes an angle, one of those times it's not going to work, at least, even in a game that you're winning. They're going to make a mistake. They're going to flank. They're going to goof up. They're going to miss an ultimate. Man, if I know my support players are watching me play Winter Soldier and hit my head in the stupid ceiling, popping my ult. Happens all the time.
Dude, I hate that, bro. Cause like I'd be like, oh, this, you know, I'm over the ceiling, and then I get up there and I'm like, oh wait, I'm not. And I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And I'm just like, oh my god, bro, bashing my head across the freaking desk.
They see all the mistakes, and because of there's no sort of inflection not reflection. Is it the word I'm looking for? Where you're just there's no sort of self-awareness about like what am I not doing?
I think he means like self-reflection, but yeah.
Right? What
Well, I guess self-awareness, self-reflection, and then probably like what's another one? Like accountability.
What coolness am I missing? You know what I'm saying? And it well, reflection kind of. You get what I'm saying. I don't know that I wanted to. I don't think reflection was exactly what I was looking for. Maybe reflection. Introspection, yes. So,
oh yeah, true.
The idea is that like there's
too.
this your literal perspective is trained from seeing the worst of your team, and because your role encourages you, or not encourages you, but there's like this culture around the role that you shouldn't be proactive, you shouldn't do anything, you should just sit back and heal. You're also less likely to make less obvious mistakes. Like whenever you guys have seen me coach support, right? How many of you guys have seen some of my support coaching VODs in Overwatch? Different game, but similar principle. 90% of my support VODs, literally 95% of them are more of what you're not doing and not what you're doing and doing wrong.
Yeah,
95% is all about you are not doing enough. You're playing too much for your life. You're not getting a reward for the risk.
Yeah, you know what's so I learned this from Faker, watching Faker when I used to play League of Legends. The best way to win games is to not do things for yourself, but to do things for the team. Like Faker, he'll die, right? But his death, like say he like kills 3 of them or kills 2 or kills this one guy that's really like a problem for the team. He sacrifices himself, right? And then the rest of his team picks up basically that baton and finishes what he started because he created that opening for them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you have to think it like you're a team. And I don't think this is ever going to change. People are always going to be self-centered, and that's just how it is. But you have to think of it from, and obviously it changes more when you're with your boys, your friends, whoever, you know what I mean? But like when you're playing with randoms, you don't give a shit about them. Let's be real. You don't care. You don't care if they win. You don't care what's going on in their life. You just want to win. And you are using these people to win by any means necessary. If you have to belittle them, if you have to boost them up, if you have to tell them they're doing great, whatever will make them do good, you will do. Like, let's be real. And so I think that's the difference is like, if you played as a team instead of playing for your self-servience, I think then you would win a lot more matches. But the problem is with that is you have to have the whole team on that mindset, and that's just never going to happen, at least in randoms.
You're taking unnecessary risk, but I almost never get a support who's trying to being too proactive. Almost never happens. Almost never happens.
Oh, you've never had me on your team. Dude, as Luna Snow, I'd be healing, I'd be shredding the other supports, and I'd be shooting the Iron Mans out of the sky. Put me on the team, coach.
It's all about opportunity cost. Like you're existing, but you're not providing anything out of your existence. So there was a time where supports got flamed the vast majority of games. What changed? I think 5v5 changed. I think 5v5 changed.
5v5,
frankly, I think there's one
funny.
fewer tank that demands healing at all times. So now you have one tank, 2 DPS, two supports. I mean, literally.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would like this for Marvel Rivals. I think Marvel Rivals is fine. Like it's kind of nice because you get we can do like the 3 healers or the 3 DPSs and the 1 tank. That's what I see a lot of comps doing, and I kind of like that actually more than just having the 5-man. But for Overwatch, I did like the 5-man more than the 6v6. I liked the 1 tank and the 2 healers and the 2 damage dealers. But I do think that now I don't know, but I'm just saying, I think if Overwatch did a similar thing where they had like where you could have 3 DPSs, 3 supports, and then just 1 tank, like, you know, sorry, I'm wording that wrong. Like 3 DPSs or 3 supports, and then, you know, you have 2 supports or you have 2 DPSs, depending which team comp you have, and then 1 tank. I think that would have been more fun. Now, would that have saved Overwatch? No. Like, I know a lot of people say, oh, it's because they had the 6v6. It's because they added the lock. It's because of esports dying. It's all because of... It's not. Let's be real. It's because of multiple business decisions they made over the you know, time. And eventually the thing that, like, you know, destroyed it was them, you know, stopped putting effort into Overwatch 1, and they just milked it for money. And then they brought Overwatch 2, and people got hope and thought it was going to work out. And then that didn't happen because guess what? They said, hey, all this stuff that's going to be coming out, this PvE role, these PvE missions, all this other like content, we're just going to throw that down the drain. But hey, we'll still release skins, guys, and maybe we'll release like a hero once every year or something. Like, you just, I don't know, man. Like, if you're still playing over, like, if you were still playing Overwatch over that, after that, it was either because it was your job, like, you know, streamer, YouTube, whatever, content creator, or you were just a cuck. Like, I'm sorry, like, there is, like, you were just eating shit out of a bowl. There is no reason to be playing that game. Like, I stopped playing that right when they announced that. I was like, you know what? I'm done. You know what? I don't want to play. Like, I stopped playing Overwatch 1 when they put less effort into it, and then I came back in 2, and then they did that again, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Glad I didn't spend much money. I only bought like a battle pass. I'm out of here.
Literally, that's probably the answer. So, yeah, I mean, can I give you an example? I mean, there's a million examples. Literally a million. I coached support today. Guy was not prioritizing anti-nade enough and wasn't prioritizing good angles. Brigitte sitting in the backline. Lucio not taking proactive angles. Kiriko sitting inside of her backline. Lifeweaver not looking for safe damage angles in between healing. I mean, there's just literally, it's constant. Support main is always opportunity costs. Now, again, we talked about this with Rivals where it's not, there is more healing involved, but there still has to be proactivity with setting up where do I need to be, who do I need to be healing, who do I need to supporting, who's going in aggressive, and then also understanding that people are going to make mistakes, but you need them to make mistakes to win the game. It's easy to be highly ineffective, exactly. So the problem here is not that support players attract necessarily toxic people. That's not the case. They're trained to be toxic with both the culture and with the way that the game goes in. So you have to kind of go in with this mindset of like, I know I'm going to see my teammates' mistakes, but I got to be self-reflective, right? So I'm kind of doing this not just to kind of flame support players. I think if anything, it's the opposite. It's to show that like this is why they are the way that they are, right? This is why they are the way they are. And I encourage you guys to, when you are playing support and get this game, to be more proactive, to be more thoughtful, to be less hard on your tanks and DPS players. And frankly, like without the role queue, if you don't want to play support, don't play support. Don't play strategist. So. Because if you only fill, you're going to have a sense of earned entitlement, and you might really destroy your love of the game. I think it's good to fill if you want to. I think it's going to be your chance to enjoy the game, but yeah, there really isn't exactly an easy answer with the role queue. You got to deal with the sins of role queue while you benefit from the upsides of it too. So, well, not doing enough as a tank or DPS is less baked into the identity of what the kit, or the cultural identity of the kit. If you do nothing as tank, nothing will happen. Strategist, strategic.
Every tank I have in every freaking competitive match, I swear, bro, sitting and doing nothing, bro. I'll be like, let's push, guys. Oh, sorry, you want me to push? Like, bro, what?
Just strategist, whatever. Like with DPS and tank, there's a closer identity of what I'm supposed to do, with a few exceptions. You know, like you have to do something as tank, you know? You are supposed to get picks as a duelist, even though that's like a really, really boiled down, simplified version. It's kind of like there's going to be some sort of action taken usually. So, you know, it doesn't mean that you're always doing the right thing, but you're going to do something. Now, my point being is that, you know, there's sins of tanks and supports. My point here is not why support players are bad and evil and the worst players ever. My point is, why are support players more entitled and bitter? We could have just as long of a discussion about why DPS players are egotistical, you know what I'm saying, and racist. But you know, that's a different topic. So,
dude, it's rough out here, man. Call them the RPS, racist per second.
Caregiver burden. I mean, it makes sense, right? Yeah, I would be very interested to hear more about that. It's a Yeah, you know, you get the responsibility of doing something. There's a certain level of expectation of like, man, when will I get to do what I want to do? You know, so yeah. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this. Maybe you disagree or contrast. It's just my experience with things and thinking things through, but maybe you guys have a different perspective. I know it's especially a sensitive one for me. Everyone who's been around with me for a while knows that like it's definitely one of my pet peeves is passive support players that never do anything.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't have anything against just support players. Like, that's just any type of player that's doing that, bro. Like, I cannot, dude, I can't do it with these players, man. But I think this was a really good video, not for just support players, but for like Marvel Rivals players in general, because I think you can take a lot of those notes even if you're not a support player. Like if you're just a DPS, a tank, you can be like, okay, you know, I should have more introspective. I should, you know, think more like what we're doing as a team instead of what am I just doing? What is this person specifically just doing? I think this is a lot of good help, and I think a lot of people should use this to get better. And I think this may help ease a lot of tensions between roles, but obviously on a grand scale, maybe not, but at least on a small scale, maybe some of you guys will get off this video and be like, wow, I should, maybe be a better human being. Yeah, who knows though, right? But yeah, comment below what you guys thought about the video, what you guys think about, roles and, all the different things we talked about in this video, like, just, the sins and the issues between the roles, the problems. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe to Spilo. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Spilo. Sorry, I'm just not good with names. But like and subscribe to him, and like and subscribe to me too. See you guys in the next video. Peace.